C, agenda review. We'll start with Elizabeth and work our way around the table.
I have nothing. Thank you.
David?
Yeah, let me pull out my packet here.
All right, while you're doing that, we'll go to Jane.
I'm good.
Mark?
No additions?
Karen?
Nothing, thank you.
I don't have anything additional. Karen?
No, I'm all set.
Ashley?
I'm good, thank you.
All right.
Yep, just a correction of a typo from the minutes from the last meeting that I had there is 2019. I should change it to 2020.
Okay.
And then added what Mark asked for at the last meeting, banning the dogs in the town property. And then Karen wanted to discuss the social media policy.
Okay.
So those are added.
Added and posted or just added tonight?
Added to that.
Just they're added.
The
tonight?
original, no, didn't have it, but they're added tonight.
Okay. Public comment. Does anybody have any comments that are not related to an agenda item tonight before we get moving forward with agenda?
I think that's me.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, I'm Heather Kuczkowski, and I'm running for select board again this year. And I would like the opportunity to sit at the table. I've had 8 years of experience recording all the shows, so I have a lot of information about what's going on in the community. And I also would like to see some changes made so that we have more communication with how things are running here. And I've started a YouTube channel that's called Spotlight in Swanton. And that was my way of kind of helping to bridge the gap of information that's out there that not everybody might know about when they move here to Swanton, when they've already lived here, and there's just little treasures throughout the town. There's a lot of positive things going on in the community that I'd like to highlight. I've been asking people in the community what they'd like to see moving forward, and there's a lot of positive response of people really love a lot of things about Swanton. There's a great sense of community here, and they love the sidewalks and just the walkability and the bands in the summer, and we just have a lot going for us, and I'd like to kind of find a way to get more information out about that. Another thing, so I just feel like I have I hope to bring more to the table. I volunteer in several different organizations, which helps me because I kind of have an ear to the ground about what's going on in the community, and I think that's helpful as well, because then I can bring that insight to the table about what's going on. So anyways, that's why I'm here today as a candidate for the select board 1-year term. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Heather.
Okay, thank you. James?
Sure. You all know me, James Gilmet, been on the select board for 5 years. Running again for the 1-year seat, the remaining seat is the one I'm in now. I appreciate your vote out there. You all have seen what I've done in the last 5 years. Probably the most important thing with me is taxes. Make sure our taxes stay level as possible. And that's about it.
All right,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Good luck to both of you. As I have said in the past, I'd much rather see each slot have 2 or 3 candidates than have one or none, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'll add one more thing, that whether you vote for me, vote for Heather, I don't care, get out and vote. That's the biggest thing, I've always said that. It's important to get out there and vote.
All right, well, thanks to both of you. And thanks to everyone else who is part of the Swanton team here that makes things happen for Swanton, and select board members here for the job that you do. All right, meeting topics, minutes, February 4, 2020, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve those as written.
Motion has been made second to approve the February 4, 2020 select board regular meeting minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Number 2, animal control. Derek, Mike, please come up. How's Derek doing this season?
Pretty good, guys. Good. Taking a while. Not a lot, but a lot. So the 24th of January, I got a call from urgent care. It's one of those Swanton address or phone numbers, and I gave my own address up by the border. It's on that last road up before you get to actually the Public Springs border crossing.
Country Club?
Yes. So I talked to the person's caregiver, and he said everything was all set as far as the dog being vaccinated and registered with the town of Peggy, and he was gonna follow up with the correct paperwork for the white incident that happened. The 24th through, well, I would say probably the rest of the month, is an ongoing animal cruelty investigation, which brought some unwanted stuff in my direction. I don't know if you guys want to talk about it on the camera.
Some of that we probably should be talking in,
Yeah.
I also have an email from Swanton PD pertaining to this investigation that's going on there.
okay? All right, so right now we have executive session. We do have the potential.
That would be for legal.
Right, no, I'm just saying, we got a few things before that.
I will say though, since, let's see, what we got, 5th, I have turned over all complaints about this person and this person's dog to Swanton PD. Just, this is how it's gotta be.
Right.
Yeah.
And, how are they with that? Are they,
They're still making me, get pictures and we're going forward with the investigation, it's just taking time.
right, but I mean, if there's a complaint about the animal, are they gonna take an action? Or do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay, it's not like someone's calling you and say, hey, I called and nothing's
And the
happening.
person messages me, so I send all the pictures, the emails, or the messages right to Swan PD through email.
Right, okay.
And the officer I'm working with said there was not enough visual evidence from the pictures I had sent, that he needed more, and that prompted me to, on the 3rd, sorry, the 4th, to take care of the officer's request, and without handing me with more issues than I wanted to deal with at
Okay. Around the board here, are there any questions?
Not on this, only exec, I guess.
So we're gonna go into executive session, to discuss this.
Well, we need to update you on some legal things that took place in the last week and a half here. So we either go in executive session at the end, or we just go in now and update and get Eric,
I just assume we get it done with now, make him sit here all night.
Okay, someone's gonna have to give me a motion.
Well, let me get my paperwork, I'll make that motion.
It's 2.
Oh, yeah,
Nope, you just passed it.
I got it.
This would be for legal.
I'll make that motion.
For legal.
Motion 1, to move forward that we find that we enter into executive session for the select board to receive confidential legal real estate information for which the premature disclosure to the general public would clearly place the select board in other substantial disadvantage.
Motion made in second, any discussion? My only point of discussion is we'll do the real estate after.
Yeah.
Okay? Discussion, hearing none, all those in favor of going into executive, or that when you go into executive session, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Other motion?
I move that based on our just made findings, that premature disclosure would place the select board and others at a substantial disadvantage, and that we enter executive session to discuss this.
Fair second?
I'll second.
Motion been made and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. All right, folks. You got it clear? All right, folks, it's 7:27, do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to enter executive session at 7:29.
All right, second.
I'll second.
Motion been made and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of exiting executive session, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. No action was taken, we just got a legal update on a dog situation. 2B, discuss banning dogs on town property. Not quite sure that title there.
Yeah.
We got a hard
that's
time,
misleading.
banning dogs on all town property. I think what this was, discussion was a carryover from last meeting where we talked about whether or not we should have dogs, or whether or not dogs should be allowed in some of our buildings. I think that's more of what some
Yes.
folks wanted to bring up and discuss, so.
I can take it.
Yeah, just,
I think my question here, from the outside looking in, should we, as officials, be allowing dogs, where there are dogs and public dogs, into public buildings? From a standpoint of something, if something was to happen, by somebody being bitten or having fleas, whatever it may be, the liability that's on us. If we have concerns of people's dogs coming into our buildings, whether they are not well taken care of, somebody gets bitten, that's one thing, but I just concerned of dogs coming into here, into the library that aren't assist dogs or anything of that matter. I question if that's something we want to look at.
Okay.
On that.
James, do you have anything on that or say, or?
Not really. I mean, nowadays you go everywhere and everyone's got their dog. I don't care where you go. Everyone's got their dog in the store, they're here, there, everywhere.
Very hard to enforce.
Well, that's the next thing,
You
yeah.
can pass it to a way to enforce it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can.
Karen, any thoughts?
I think there is a liability issue, and just because people do it all over the place doesn't make it right. I'm a dog lover, I have a dog, I don't take my dog into stores and into public places. There's people that are petrified of dogs, there's people that are allergic to them. And we're talking dogs here, but that applies to any animal. And I think there's signage out there that you can just say it's service dogs only. And therapy dogs do not apply as service dogs. And I think I agree with Mark, I think there should be something that puts things in perspective.
Okay, let me, and then I'll get to you, Gary. Mark's just asking, what he said was just asking whether we look into this.
Correct. So much of the vote is, do we want to entertain the thought to make a policy?
Okay, so. Gary?
Does any other town that we know of have a policy like this about allowing dogs in the stores?
Oh, whatever, yeah.
State doesn't allow it in state buildings, I don't know about towns,
You go to,
it's easy enough to find out.
I've been in stores and some people have dogs that are fine, and you wouldn't know if they were service dogs or not, they just behave themselves. But to set a policy, a law like this, basically, if we don't allow them on town property, I think that's pretty stringent.
I'm not saying property, within the building.
But within the building, yeah. It's a hard one. I don't think I'm in favor of it.
Okay, I'm not in favor of it. From a liability standpoint, there is certain risk. That's why we have insurance. Most people who have dogs, most people, not all, because if that was the case of not all, then Derek wouldn't come visit us once a month and talk to us. Most dog owners take control of their dog and make sure it's behaving properly and have it in a healthy condition. And in my opinion, that's mostly what we would see here, if someone was coming in here doing some business. I understand some people might be allergic to dogs, some people are allergic to peanuts, and if the person's allergic, then they need to let somebody know, and then, you know, the dog can be removed for, well, someone needs to do business here, if that's the case. If someone's afraid of a dog, it's kind of the same thing. If it's bothering somebody and they're trying to conduct business here in Swanton, in one of our buildings, then we make an accommodation to have the dog out while they're conducting business. In my, well, on my eighth year, as far as select board, and then several others working in this building, I've never heard of it as an issue. So at this stage, I'm not really interested in discussing it further, but if we get a vote to do that, we certainly can. I guess that's all I'll say for right now. I think it puts an extra burden on the ones working here too. If someone walks in with a dog, is that a service dog? Is it, you know, therapeutic dog? Is it this? Could you please, you know, do we really need that? Most people are in and out of here in a couple minutes, and I don't know, I just don't see it as too big an issue or too big a liability. We can go around again if people want to add to that, or.
I pretty much what you said. I think we're opening a can of worms, you know, and that's the problem. Is it a therapy dog? Is it a whatever dog you call it? You know, I guess if it becomes a huge issue, then we'll have to revisit it, but I don't think we have a huge issue with it.
Haven't heard everybody. Do you want to make a motion, or?
No, I'm fine. We've had open discussion with it. I think that we've all said our piece, and if we don't think it's needed, I'm good with that.
Karen?
I can't see the sense of emotion, I still feel the way I do, but I mean, there's no sense, you know, carrying it further and understanding where everybody else stands.
Okay, no, that's all fair. It's all good. All right, thank you. Unless anyone has anything else, we're gonna move on to 3A.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you. Can't say that enough in front of the camera. What you do, we certainly appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Enjoy it sometimes.
Old Town Business, approved new road and bridge standards. And I talked to Dave a little bit about this before the meeting, and I thought we had done this. I know we talked about it. Looks like we have a date of August 19th, 2020. And the one thing I remember we wanted some time to talk about and get the numbers back to David was section 5, which is on page 5. And all new or substantially reconstructed gravel roads shall have 9 inches of thick gravel base with additional 6 inches top course of crushed gravel.
Actually, what I did was look back at our current road standards that we
Yeah.
have that are still in effect.
Yeah.
Because this was on the agenda July, August, and September. I just checked the last one for September. It was never adopted. But in looking at our current road standards, where it says all new or substantially reconstructed gravel roads shall have 24 inches of thick gravel subbase, an additional 8 inches top course of crushed gravel. So that would be
30 inches total?
That sounds like a lot.
Oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute. Those are the ones. No, it's 12 inches for that, and 3 inches for the top, and then 15 inches on the one below that.
Yeah, so 12 and 3, I said 9 and 6 is the way I'd rather see it done,
Oh.
with the heavier material.
You're the road commissioner.
Right, so that's why I was just
Yeah.
reading these numbers, and it gives us the same thickness,
Okay, so you'd rather have 9 than 6?
9 and 6 on the first part and 15 on the other, and we will have very good roads. If we can
Makes
rebuild
sense.
all our paved roads, and
Yeah.
put 15 inches.
Yeah.
The last culvert cuts we put in, there's like no base, it's all like sand underneath that, and that's why you see where
That's
the
why
heavy vehicles are just
Oh, yeah.
pounding them down.
Yep.
So other than that, there's nothing
No.
new from what we saw
No.
last summer, so.
And the reason this is kind of urgent is because to get FEMA money, these are the ones that have to be adopted. And if we want to add to them with our own later, which are more detailed, for example, what we just read, where you fill in, there's a note there that the town decides what those inches are. And then looking at our current ones, they're actually a lot more detailed as far as how that applies to a road. So at some point in the future, we could add infill, more detailed stuff if we so choose. But for now, because we have an existing project that we have to work with, we need to get the base adopted.
Yeah, especially with that berry
Yeah.
reimbursement for berry. So do I hear a motion to approve these?
I'll make a motion to approve these.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? So moved. 3B, discuss.
Let me get them here so you can sign. And this one, the board has to sign. And I'll change the numbers that are up there to what Joel wants. Just pass it down. So-
No, it's- yeah, I'll just, that's fine.
All right, while we're passing it around for signatures, discuss windows for town office building.
James.
I'd ask put that on there. We've talked about this numerous times, about the windows here in the building that are in poor shape.
Yep.
I don't know, I know you guys talked about it more last summer when I was wasn't on the board. But I know when I was on the board before, we talked about it. We got money in the economic development. It's to use on our buildings. I don't know why we don't get them fixed, replaced. In my opinion, as a contractor, it's not a simple fix because of the condition of the frames of the windows and everything. It really needs to be taken, the framework and everything needs to come out back to the bricks. The molds are gonna have to come off and be replaced on the inside. And because of the historic of the building, it's gonna have to be you can do a vinyl coated outside and inside window. So it'll be protected forever, but, would be the best choice of window to put in there, but. But a lot of the sills are, they're not in good shape.
Right.
You know, we got windows that are cracked,
Right, you
wind
can
blowing
feel the
through
air
them.
coming through them.
Well, just today I could hear it whistling in again.
And even the ones out front, the seals have been broken up for I don't know how many years, so. But,
And
Go
I
ahead.
checked with the State Historic Preservation Office, and I mentioned that in the past, before I started here, these windows were put in the modern ones with the double pane. And I said they imitated the original ones, as far as the number of munchkins on them and so forth. And I asked if we'd be obligated to comply with the national standards they have for historic preservation and restoration. And she said as long as there's not a federal or state grant involved, the town could do what it wanted. But I told her that, we're historically conscious and that we would represent the, kind of like what they look like now, but James is right, if you have them vinyl coated, that's okay. As long as, you don't have the federal money in it.
Yeah. But let's take a look. Do we even open or need to open, like the windows in this area right here?
Yeah.
Why would we want,
Just to escape.
And fire egress.
Yeah.
but
Egress.
those are not considered because you have to climb up. If people need to get out, throw a chair through it, if we put something different.
Mhm.
But the intent of these picking up were not for egress.
Yeah.
That's why, we got the exit signs, we got the lights, we got the short distance to these doors, and if there's even farther, they'd had us put sprinklers in here. That's, from a fire safety, this building is safe. So for the extra expense, why would we do that? It's just a question I'm asking.
So what are you talking about, put a solid window in there and not put a,
Oh, put a double, maybe you get double, you get insulated windows that have buttons in, but they're just solid from top to bottom.
but you're gonna spend just as much money for a solid window as you are a double hung window. You know what I'm saying? Versus the price, you're not gonna save I mean, you certainly can price it either way you want.
Well, that's
I just think
Yeah,
you have more potential for air leakage and stuff, cause you've got the system
Over
that
time,
opens up
yeah.
and closes versus,
Yeah.
I had double hungs facing the lake,
Mhm.
and it's like, why are these here? And I put in solid insulated glass, and I mean,
Yeah.
it just cut out all the infiltration when it's
Yeah.
20-mile-an-hour wind, it just.
Yeah. Yeah,
And-
I mean, it's not like we open the windows in here
It,
anyways.
it would
It's
be
got
different, we have
AC
nice air
system,
conditioning
yeah.
and everything, and
Yeah,
it's just a thought, I'm just throwing it out there.
yeah.
Right, we've had this discussion, I know, since at least I came on.
Mhm.
But I think it's time that we entertain the thought of replacing them,
Yeah.
it's just how do we wanna pay for them? Do we wanna use that money?
Mhm.
Or
Is
something
it
to earmark
enough?
some of it? But I think it's worth the discussion that we should probably act sooner than later there.
So do we need to develop a statement of work?
That's what we're gonna do in the RFP, if they're gonna do that,
Yeah.
advertise it for bid and, you know. But that is, if it's something we're gonna do, now's the time to do it, before the busy season comes.
Yeah.
You know,
And maybe we should break the bid up too, so that if we decide we don't want, if the costs are higher, so maybe we have like these windows as a
Right,
separate line
do
item,
sections.
certain sections, and
Yeah.
then we can.
yeah, maybe the two front bay windows that are the worst in front, and then do the rest of these windows here in another section, in the back, in another section or something.
Or at
The
least,
ones out back
at least
there.
get it bid that way, and then depending on the
Yeah.
construction climate, now the bids come in, we got some options on how much we do. our
Yeah,
own.
do an option of section A, B, and C or whatever, and then a package deal or something, you know.
Yeah, the ones in the two back rooms are worse, the Navy's office and all of them, they're cracked.
We had to get that one and that one, and then,
Take my plastic off, it's still out last year.
Yeah.
well, that's the word from a safety hazard as
Well,
well, that's a
yeah.
concern.
Is that RFP something you'd be interested in putting together?
Well,
Inventory?
I need specs from someone, cause I'm not that knowledgeable to know what to say the window should be. If I get those, then I could, you know, phasing it is not a problem.
Can you work on an inventory?
Yeah.
X number of this size, double hung, certain ones that are just solid, I mean insulated glass, but
Yeah.
X, you know.
I think these are all pretty much standard.
Right, I think they
Yeah.
probably are too, but you know, if we get that inventory, I'll see if I can, get somebody to give me the latest as far as the window specs.
I think I got something I can give you too, about
Okay.
the specs. I think that you still, what I got you last year, asked me Bill.
Yeah.
Last summer, I think the specs are on those. I can see if I can find them again for you, but,
Okay.
um,
Is everybody in agreement of going forth and getting
Yes.
some
Yes.
pricing? We won't necessarily be obligated
Yeah.
to do, but we can go out with an RFP and explain, you know, depending on the
Yeah.
price, we'll do some or all or none of the.
Yep.
Of the project.
yeah, makes sense.
Good with that? Anything else, James, on that?
No?
Moving on to new town business 4A, discuss snow guards for town office building roof.
I'll put that on there.
Okay.
Because last week, we had about 12 inches of snow on the roof, metal roof, and then we had that little warm spell with some rain, that roof, the snow got really heavy, started avalanching down in different sections. It was so heavy, it would have killed someone if it had hit them on the sidewalk. I mean, it was, because of the extra weight, it just went right out to the sidewalks. In fact, over here, it went as far as the road, on the edge of the road, that's how bad it was. And I asked the highway crew to come down and barricade them, they did. But the snow guards at least would stop it before it even came down, which is, I think, what we need, because putting the barricades after the fact is gonna help if somebody gets hit.
Is the snow still out there now?
Oh, yeah, it's like concrete, even when it was still.
Is it on the sidewalk?
Oh, yeah,
We should probably clear that up because you block.
well, we need a big plow to do that.
But if it's
Out here, that's-
accessible and you're blocking it, you should be taking care of it.
Out here, they had to, our highway crew had to come down and push it in towards the building in order to clear the sidewalk, because it's just like concrete, you can't even shovel it.
It's okay, they got all the toys up there, they can,
Come down
they
the
take a
road.
backhoe, we got them a nice
Yeah.
new backhoe,
Yeah,
they can clean that right up, all you gotta do is let them know.
call.
I mean, there's days when between plowing, we should keep that sidewalk closed for accessibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, call Kevin and,
Yeah.
or Mike.
And what about the snow guards?
I think we've got to speak with some people who take a look at this roof and
Well,
how
I was
comfortable
just
they
gonna say,
are.
when I did the roof work up there, the only concern is, is those snow guards have to screw into something substantial. That's what old barn board plank on that roof, and
You
there's
don't
like
just rip
no
'em
need
out.
to screw them into. You know, I know they do make the ones that clip on the fins on the standing seam, but, and then you gotta look at the other thing is, do you want all that weight on that roof, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight
Is
on
there any
it.
signs out there at all, across the all nice?
Up front, over here, it's,
And I thought that was kind of the purpose of the handicap ramp covering that, to protect that ramp from the snow coming off the roof.
well, it does, but
Yeah.
the sidewalk up further isn't protected. That's where it goes when it gets that weight and then picks
Yeah,
up steam.
shoots right out there, but.
How many times a winter does this happen? This would-
Well, unpredictable.
Anytime we get a big snowstorm.
Yeah, last year was
And the more
3 or
snow,
4
the more weight,
times.
the farther it's gonna flow, it comes off in there, so.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm concerned about the ones who
Yeah.
clamp onto the ridge, you
yeah,
know, cause you're gonna end up pulling that away from the roof, the actual
Yeah.
roof material itself.
yeah.
You don't think there's enough wood up there to screw the,
Well, the problem is how you gonna know where you're
Right.
screwing to, you know, you got big lag bolts, hold those in there.
and then we're gonna put all kinds of holes in
Yeah.
the roof?
And then
Yeah, and
you
it
get
is
water down
not-
through the holes, yeah?
Yeah, and that's the problem, one pulls out, then you can have a roof leak and, I mean, it probably could be done, you could find the string, I don't know what the spacing of the trusses up there, if you could find the trusses to screw it into the truss to get some better support, but there's not a lot of,
Yeah.
We
Just
need to
the
cover the
one by
sidewalk.
slats that the steel's nailed down to is, you know, that's hit or miss, whether you're gonna get one or not.
Yeah.
Um, The only thing I can think of is the clip-on ones might slow the snow, slide the snow down.
Clip on,
Even the ones that go on, they make smaller one, thin ones that go on the rail of the standing seam, instead of like the big tube racks that you put along the edge of the roof.
Screw or something like that.
Yeah, they just clip on, so I don't know exactly how they clip on there, but, you know, that might be a little less aggressive. I've seen them on other buildings with sand and seam, and they put a lot of them on there, I mean,
Oh, yeah, it's probably worth to try that first.
yeah,
at least in just one small area maybe, and
Yeah.
see what it does or doesn't do.
My son put them on his house,
yeah,
and it does stop the snow, but you do get the buildup.
yeah,
You're gonna get the buildup.
yeah, that's the only thing
It
else.
stopped it from coming off the roof, but as it come down, it just built up,
Yeah,
so there's that issue.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna get big tape, when it snows, it's just,
yeah,
I know it's an issue, and it's a, it is an issue.
yeah. I can look and see what there is for options out there if we got something, you know.
Alright, we'll let you run with it
Yeah.
for anything else, folks, we'll let James run with that a little bit. Keep it on the agenda.
David, you were gonna get ahold of Kevin and.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, if there's any question with that kind of stuff, I realize that the snow's hard and everything else with that backhoe and stuff, you can scrape that with that backhoe, break it all up and move it and clean it up. Alright, approve the 2020 certificate of mileage, that's 4B. On page 12, we deleted .41, is that a result of some
Yeah,
of our,
oh, we did last year.
Yep,
So I'll send this out tomorrow. And then they review everything at a stage, and they may come up with a different number. The number of feet that I got from our GES man measuring, so they may have something more accurate down there, or do something different, I don't know.
okay.
So we got more or less highway miles now?
Less, which means we got less money.
Yeah. Is that because we just continued a few little things?
Yeah, because each, up in the top, you see the different categories.
Yep.
When I have to do what's called a financial annual report for the highway every year.
Yep.
And every year they come up with a formula. These are actually multipliers. Well, there's the multiplier is what they send me every year to multiply it times the number of miles of roads for each of those categories. And then that determines how much money they send us for the whole highway deal.
So where was the 4/10 of a mile? Because we
That's
ended up,
everything. That's
but
it.
we ended up not doing very much down on the canal.
Yeah, that's still, they've measured out that.
But there were two little things we did.
Right.
Yeah. Those
There
were,
was a
that
small one
that
down
little
at,
bump, that Comcast bump was over 600 feet.
Where was that?
I'm not Comcast, Comstock.
all around, yeah.
That new,
Oh,
whatever it was,
So
yeah.
that's a
That's
tent right
600
there.
feet right
Yeah.
there, yeah. And then there was car deals, that was about almost, I think it was 21 floors, something like that.
Yeah, okay, so we had that. All right.
Yeah, they had
Do I hear a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve the highway certificate, mileage certificate.
Second?
I'll second it.
Motion is made and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor state aye. Aye. Opposed, so moved.
And I'll pass around the form for you to sign.
Okay, new town business 4C, discuss social media use, page 14.
That's Karen.
I had just sent something to the board that I had found, and it's just, information, and I want to look further and see what other communities are doing regarding this issue. And if we decide that there's something we would want to do, we can take one of them and use it as a template. So it's, that's all I have for that.
So for tonight, it's just information.
Yeah, it's
and
just
you're gonna gather
information,
more.
yeah.
Perfect. All right.
I stated at the last meeting, I think Joe, you had asked me if I could get something that was gonna be able to achieve that in his property of.
Oh, okay, something they didn't want, yeah.
Yep.
Perfectly within their purview.
Yep. I could have gotten a copy, but.
No, you don't, I already worked.
That's not worth it.
No.
5, community and economic development.
So
Elizabeth, you're up.
that's me. So number one, the leader evaporator grant was submitted on time, maybe a 3-minute to spare. Kathy, if you would take one and pass it around. Here's an email. Tim, so David had asked a question about what if we were defaults. And Tim reached out, and Patrick shelled what you're getting is the email response. I would suggest reading it all before you react.
So don't just read the top.
Just don't read it. I mean, it's what he said. It's not a surprise, but the end goal is that they're not looking to make it hard on the community, and it will all be part of the grant agreement should we get to that point. Or the agreement between the town and leader, and I'll shut up so you can read.
So as long as we dot our i's and cross our t's, there shouldn't be an issue is the bottom line.
I think that from reading it, they want us to be in compliance with the grant more than they're worried about the funds coming back is the main thing.
Although it certainly sounds like we may have to throw some money at legal, should that be the case, to show that we are earnestly trying to recapture funds. Yeah, I'm sure, again, it's, like they stated here, the intent is that, not for that to happen, but should it happen, we need them to work to.
So,
So then,
Save our
keeping
interest.
this in mind, when it comes time, if we do get the grant and we decide whether we get interest on it or not, we should keep this in mind
Yeah.
then,
and
Yes, yeah.
And if I can back up, I probably should have said this first. So we did get an email thanking us for submission of our application. They have reviewed it, or they've received it, and is currently under the threshold review because we went through the low and middle income requirements, so they're going to make sure that we pass that. Once that is done, within, let's see, the analysis will be offered to you, the applicant, for comment and feedback approximately 2 weeks before the scheduled board meeting on April 2nd. So they'll review the application, have some questions, and then allow us an opportunity to respond to those questions. So it's looking like mid-March for that. So we're in the review process. They may decide for whatever reason we don't meet the threshold. We were at 53%, and we only need to be at 51, so we should be fine. So.
Can I ask one question? It says that can require the town to secure the loan with form of mortgage and real property. of the business, the UCC, or personal guarantee, would we know how much equity they have in their business to know where we stand as far as what they owe and what we can put a mortgage as far?
I think we probably already have that, because I just
Okay.
forwarded all the financials, I didn't read them.
Oh, okay, I was just curious.
I wouldn't have understood them had I read them anyway, probably, to be honest. So, but we do have like 3 years of financials going forward, and then 2 years of, 3 years of pro forma.
And would we know, I know it's kind of, I don't know if it's part or not, but would we know what they actually have out to know if there's equity? What I'm saying, it says we can take a loan against, take a mortgage or a UCC statement or personal guarantee, but how do we know how much they've already personal guaranteed, how much is already UCC'd, and how much they already owe?
Right.
On whether or not we have equity for what we're doing.
Is there enough
I guess
to
I'm
cover
asking-
our own goods? Yeah.
Right, and, you know, I think when Jeff was here, he and, you know, David sat in a meeting or two with him. He will tell you anything and everything you need to know. There are no secrets. And he gave the good, the bad, and the ugly, and there was a lot of ugly. But, you know.
Actually, yeah, what it says right here, will be determined which methods of security will be required when the loan between the municipality and the board is negotiated. So I think part of that,
It's
they'll have those
at some
financial,
point, yeah.
Once
That's
it's
financial
approved,
information.
it is approved, then we can
you guys down to the
nitty
nitty gritty and,
Yeah.
yeah, the question of what, how much do they actually own in it that
Right.
in security.
It's my old job kicking in.
That's why I highlighted that, just to make sure that we have a clear understanding of exactly what that is.
Yeah, the one glitch in all that is if any state or federal taxes were owed, they take precedent over everything.
Oh, yeah.
And they did have to prove that they were current on federal, state, and local taxes.
Well, I'm sure they'll be able to refine it too.
So, any other questions on, so hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll get the questions back and we can respond to those. There is a presentation at the April 2nd board meeting if we get that far, and that is the town. So, obviously, some of us will be going down with the leader to make the presentation to the board. B, this is a quick one, discuss VORAC grant for Marble Mill Park. As you know, we applied for $100,000 to do phase 1A of the Marble Mill Master Plan. And that was basically to do some signage in the parking area and some permitting, some kind of laying the groundwork for the overall revitalization. Today, we got an email last week, today was the day they're going to be reviewing that application and to be available from 1 to 3 if they had any questions. They would call you, they didn't call me, so they had no questions, so hopefully we'll find out in the next day or two whether we got some or any of that. The chili cook-off is next Monday. We've got several entrance to the cook-off, and it doesn't have to be chili if you feel like doing super stew, because I know we don't have some chili fans. Feel free to do super stew.
Where is that?
That will be from 5:30 to 6:45 at the Village Complex prior to your informational meeting. And you have to be present at the end of the meeting to win.
What was the price this year?
100 for first and 50 for second, and I do need to get you a friend request.
Okay,
Locked you in on that one, but anyway.
that's a different hat.
Yes, that is a different hat. Tomorrow, I will be at 14th Star, not drinking, Wednesday, February 19th from 9 to 10:30. I talked about it's the small business workshop. It's where a lot of the funders, let's see, SBA will be there, USDA Rural Development, FCIDC will be there. There's several small business owners from Swanton that will be there. I reached out to them, so they'll be attending as well. I'm happy for that.
How often do those occur?
This is the first time they've done it. Well, I mean, they're going around the state, but this is the first time they've done it. As other things come up, I'll keep everybody notified and reach out to appropriate people. Seemed like there was something else, but what it was, I don't remember, so that is it for me.
All right, if it comes up when you think of it, we will let you catch us up. Thank you, Elizabeth. Expenditures. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the general orders.
Second.
Motion made, second to accept the general orders. Any discussion? Look at 'em. Anything out of the ordinary, Kathy, that you can think of on this?
No, just our normal.
The
Just spending all that money we don't get till,
Yeah.
later this year, right?
Already gone.
We still have some left, yay!
The grant, is that a grant disbursement or something on there from Marvin Mill?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kinda
We
figured.
paid the architects their money,
Okay.
anticipating getting some more grant money to cover it.
Sweet Hollow Road just keeps on going, huh?
Is that, that's not over with, we're still going around about that? Wow. Starting to get a little expensive.
There is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
A lot of permits to pay that off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right, any other questions, folks? I know it's several pages, it's a lot of small items. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Highway orders.
I'll make a motion to approve the highway orders.
Second.
Motion made second to approve the highway orders. Is there any discussion?
I did have a question, but I gotta find it.
I just want to question the HG Berger for the $5,099. Is that like for 1 month? What is it for?
That's a month.
Yeah, it is a month. Wow.
Busy month.
Yeah.
$3,457 for, well, it says Blades for International.
Yeah.
Something corporate DBA, what is that?
Doing business as, but, I've gotta
That's
check on that.
Viking.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
okay.
They had to
like-
replace all the blades and the points and there was a whole list of stuff.
I know they went through and changed a lot of blades, this, dollar figure though, I'm,
$3,400, wow, that's a lot of Blades.
The good news is, and it gives you an idea of how actual thrifty they are up there, is the state lets them know
Mhm.
when they're changing their blades, and the state changes them with a little bit of life left.
Yeah.
They go over and they pick them up,
Oh, yeah.
and they put them on our plows and use them
I've
for
been at
several
the shed
weeks.
before and seen the stocking.
Yeah.
Backups they got in there.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
Just one of
do
those
it.
$3 doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Hit that threshold.
Yeah, no, they are, I
That's
would
one of
say
the-
they're. Yep.
In general, how often did the blades have to be replaced?
that's a great question, and I would have to get an answer from
It's
them.
random between the trucks. I think we had to do maybe one truck last year, one truck this year, maybe next year.
Yeah.
It's based on, you know, how much they
Where-
set
right,
down
right,
road
yeah.
and how they set them, but there is the actual bill, it was a lot of blades that were purchased.
It goes by how well the roads are
7,
maintained as well.
And it probably wasn't, those blades aren't for all for one truck. That's
19, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
blades on there, yeah.
Cause they're punched at like 12, 6 inches and stuff, so yeah,
Yeah,
there's several blades, yeah.
no, they're not cheap anyways, that's special steel.
I'll just pass that. Anything else on the highway?
No, I'm good.
Okay, all those in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved.
Oh, yeah.
Payroll, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the payroll.
I'll say it.
Motion's been made, second to accept the payroll as written, any discussion? I sent you guys the note, Kathy did the research based on the question Mark had regarding the overtime. So
Yes, I guess.
that was good news as far as being down. So it's in the
Then it
February.
snows.
Yeah,
Then it
then
snows.
And you get a day like today, we got an inch of snow, it's a very wet snow, so you're gonna pound it into ice, plus it was drifting, you know?
It's all melted.
Then tomorrow-
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the 2020 payroll orders, state aye.
Aye.
Just opposed, so moved. Thank you, Kathy.
Can we come back to me?
Yes, while we're signing, you can update us.
So James mentioned grants, and that is what spurred me. The downtown scoping study RFP is out, just as an informational bit. That also reminds me, the Lake Street and Palm Shore you know, how we had the discussion whether you wanted, for the MBU, whether you wanted to go with an a traditional RFP
Yes.
or the at-the-ready. Is it worth assuming that you would want to go an RFP for Lake Street and Palm Shore versus at-the-ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
And same thing kind of applies as what you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just, that was my assumption, but you know what they say about a city,
Yes,
so.
yes.
I do have an RFP ready, for Lake Street and Palm Shore. So you'll see that, do you need to see that at the next meeting?
What's that?
Do you need to see the RFP at the next meeting?
I don't need to see the RFP, I don't know if somebody else wants. The only thing I wanna make sure on Lake Street and Palm Shore is we get the road right away researched. And I know this because it has federal funds, whether, I don't know whether or not we can do that, but I would imagine that's probably gonna be part of the study anyway. But there's issues whether it's 4 rods in places and 3 rods, and it would be nice while having
They
this.
did that on my way a couple years ago, they did the whole section of 105, they didn't even know where, it was 100 foot some places, 50 foot in others.
Yeah, so if we're gonna, potentially widen and that sort of thing, we really need to figure that out.
I spoke with someone at the state about that, District 8, and, because they have mylars of all the rights of way, all the roads up here, but they don't consider that to ever have been a state road. They have no information on what the right of way width is for that, from a Palm Shore.
Yeah, we spent some time looking, and we got places where we think it's 4 rods, and we got places where we think it's 3. The draft map in there says it's 4 rods. Well, you can't,
It's gotta be
get into a discussion, you gotta know what it is, to talk with homeowners, and that's, if we're gonna be doing anything on those roads, we need to know. The other ones I love it when the people ask me is it 25 feet from the center of the road? That's assuming the road was put in the center of a 50-foot right of way. One thing I tell them is,
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, I can tell you most places it is, but if that road is left or right a little bit, then you need to have a survey done, but anyway, I just,
Okay, so I'll
regarding that.
make sure that that's on the scope of work. Okay, sorry about that.
No, it's good, thank you. 7, liquor control. Just gonna note that we are leaving the regular meeting and going into a liquor control commission meeting.
Sounds good.
Happy, what do we got?
What's that?
Okay, we have 3 renewals.
Yep.
Champlain Farms, Jolly Associates, and Campbell's Day Inc., and none of them had any violations in the past year.
Can I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve those liquor licenses as discussed.
Motion's been made and second to approve the 3 liquor licenses as discussed. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. All right, we'll go back to our regular meeting, highway updates. No major updates from anything that I mentioned or sent emails on, except for I got a call today that the left spring, front spring in the Mac, a couple of leaves are cracked, it's still usable. Should have the new spring tomorrow and get it put on very soon, so. Other than that, vehicles are in pretty good shape right now.
Is there something they'd bring somewhere to put on? Joe?
No, Kevin thinks they can do it.
Yep.
So, and then.
It is a front spring, you said?
Yeah, they said it's the front spring. How's Woods Hill doing? I know you talked to him and I talked to him and.
Yeah, it was, it's okay tonight there, but.
Did you sign this one?
Yeah, I sent it in the wrong spot, probably.
Oh, because the sticker went on.
That's why you've got the yellow sticker with an arrow?
Well, that's what that was for.
Oh, that says sign here? You can teach some old dogs new tricks and others you just can't. Ask my wife, she's been trying. All right. That's it, correspondence. David, you have anything?
No.
All right, I had this sent to me, I thought I'd bring it in here and talk to you folks real quick about it. VLCT is having training for, select board, March 21st in Montpelier. It's called the Spring Select Board Institute. And I didn't know if there was any interest in any folks heading down there.
I asked David if he would sign me up.
Okay. Is that a one-day event?
Yes.
Looks like it, a one-day event. I didn't know if we all could make it down there or not, but, throw that out there.
That's the
It's the 21st of March.
It's a Saturday.
Oh,
It's a Saturday?
it's not the
Yeah.
one I was seeing.
Yeah, actually over there, and that's probably why they're doing it. Hate to take a Saturday, but,
I do
it would be kinda nice if, might be worth it if we can get a group of us to go down there and make a day out of it, so I just ask you to take a look at your calendars and consider it. 21 March, and, what you could do for us is, you go on the website, you can probably get the agenda and just send it to everybody, so.
What's the time frame on that?
VLCT, right?
March 21st.
Yeah, VLCT.
It's like 9 to
Oh.
3:30 or something like that.
Yeah, VLCT.org, they probably have a lunch that's part of it.
Yeah.
Give us
They
a
always
chance to hear some
teach it.
stuff and, meet as a group, just throwing it out there, alright?
Yeah, Brian teaches some of those every now and then, the courses.
Yeah.
at those.
Any other necessary business? Anybody have anything? Now, you said we had some guests here,
We do. We have this young man's a scout over here.
what's your name, young man?
Carson.
Carson,
Yep.
welcome to our meeting. Hopefully in a few years, if you're around Swanton, you might be interested in actually serving on a board like this. There's 2 or 3 different boards that we have, and we're always looking for people to do it, so appreciate you showing up
And we'd
tonight.
love to have younger people too.
Is this something you're working toward a badge or something?
Yep.
Excellent, excellent.
Is it your Eagle Scout badge or your
One of my Eagles
one
got back.
Eagle Scout? That's what I thought.
Citizenship in the community.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I need a couple more, because I just got my life ring.
nice. Oh, good.
You have any questions for us or anything?
Nope.
No?
Thank you very much.
You wanna be dog catcher someday? I don't know, about part of it we discussed in that executive session, but that's not a fun
Throwing you to the wolves right now.
job. No pun intended. All right,
Well, I'm glad we could help you out.
Thank you for coming.
yeah, good luck with getting your Eagle badge.
You got any more questions or anything, you know where we are, so, anything you need.
Any other public comment? No? Good, Heather?
I was just wondering, the paper about social media, what does that pertain to?
Well, actually, you can have a copy. This is Milton's policy,
Okay.
so it talks about what
Is-
media that Milton is using and how they update it and what they can and can't do as town employees on that media, and it talks a little bit about on their own media sites and stuff. So it's some guidance for the employees on.
It's like ethics for social media.
And who would have to follow those?
All town
So, like,
employees and
So your
appointees and.
behavior on your personal page should be conducted as such. Is that what it is?
Well, nothing
Yeah,
has been
let's-
decided yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say.
Well,
take-
I didn't know if it was the set Facebook group that
No.
I manage or,
No. What it pertains to is, it was just put out last week, do we have a social media policy? No, should we?
oh,
We don't have a town Facebook page, nothing like that, that's kind of where the question came from.
okay.
If we did, what would it look like?
From that Swanton, Vermont thing that,
No, it wasn't even out of there.
It's not, it has nothing to do with anybody's
No.
post or anything.
I just asked the question.
That's all. it was
Okay.
about that.
Yeah.
And it could potentially be guidance for our employees, even on their personal
Yeah,
because you
pages
are a
on my.
reflection of your community.
exactly.
Right, so-
We represent
So,
the Swanton.
If we were,
Thank you.
we're gonna take a look at 2 or 3 of them as was discussed tonight, and then see whether, we take different pieces, whether we take any action at all or not. But,
I think it's a great outlet for the community to speak, and that's all I'm wondering.
Oh yeah, we're not,
No,
I'm just gonna say for the camera, we're not here to limit anybody's ability to speak. What it does is it puts some parameters for town employees. We can't tell a town, member of the town what they can and can't do on any social
Sure.
media. That's not the intent of this one bit. It would only, it's for our own
I was
employees and
just
stuff.
wondering the focus of where on social media it was, but it sounds like you guys don't know yet, so.
Right,
Yeah,
and
just keep
and
an
just
ear
tell,
out.
in Milton, it says if we're bringing up a site, this is how you're gonna manage it. And, you know, as far as how a town employee is gonna respond or not respond to something and, you know, types of language used, et cetera, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Any other public comments, upcoming events? Wednesday, February 19th, 7 PM, Plan Commission meeting right here. Monday, February 24th, 5:30 to 6:35 is a chili cook-off that's been discussed. And then following that is the joint town and village meeting, and that's gonna be taking place up at the village complex. Really encourage people to come out, take a look at the town report when it comes out, take a look at the budgets, take a look at the information that's provided.
It is out.
It is out.
Right now, it's available here, the village and the library, and tomorrow I'll start distributing through businesses throughout the town from tomorrow to Friday.
Okay, so here it is. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but encourage folks to get it, take a look, and ask questions. Come enjoy the chili cook-off and stay and have a discussion about the town and how we operate.
And Joel, as soon as I get the PDF from the printer, it'll be on the town website.
Okay,
The 24th of
Is that
this
the one
month,
that-
I'll have that.
what's that?
24th of this month, you'll have the PDF.
You have the PDF and then put it on the
So,
website.
is
Yes,
that the one we dressed up for in shirt and tie? Last year?
where we think is appropriate, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Best dressed.
Yeah, well,
I'm not- just would, yes.
okay.
Thursday, February 27th at 7 PM, is DRB meeting here at the town offices. Town meeting day, March 3rd, voting from 7 AM to 7 PM at the village complex. Again, encourage folks to get out there, vote, make your voice heard. And then Wednesday, March 4th at 7 PM, the select board will hold its organizational meeting at the town offices. We normally meet the first and third Tuesdays of the month, but we have moved the March meeting to the 4th to do the reorganization. All right, anything else?
No, I just hope, March 3rd, it's a little bit warmer than last year it was. It was mighty cold last year out there, standing out there.
Well, I've been out there.
It was
Snow,
cold
I've been
last
out there in
year.
the brutal cold. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's up to you.
Well, yeah, that's fine, that's good. So the town report, just real quick, want to mention, it's dedicated to the Swanton enhancement project. Gives a little bit of the history, pictures shown here, Ron and Sandy Kilburn, Molly and Hank Lambert, and Ross LaVoy, some of the original members of the Swanton enhancement project. So that's the dedication that was done for this year. Okay, thank you, Karen. Executive session, we still have real estate. Okay. No other business to conduct, we're gonna go into executive session if I get a motion.
I'll make that motion. I move that we find, they will enter an executive session for the select board to receive confidential legal real estate information for which premature disclosure of the general public would clearly place the select board and others at substantial disadvantage.
Can I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Can I hear my second motion?
I move that based on just made findings, that premature disclosure would place a select board and others at a substantial disadvantage, and we enter executive session.
Can I hear a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second to go into executive session. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. We're now in executive session at 8:20.